Here's the cleaned up script. No timestamps, no music tags, no speaker labels, and expanded with additional reflection and examples to run closer to 35 minutes when read aloud. 2 things a wise woman never tells a man. Have you ever wondered why some women are deeply respected, admired, and impossible to manipulate, while others unknowingly give away their power with just a few words? What if there are 2 things a wise woman never tells a man? Not because she's hiding something, but because she understands the value of her energy, her dignity, and her silence. Ask yourself, are you revealing too much too soon? Are your words making you stronger or making you vulnerable? Are you giving away the very things that should be protected? Wisdom is not found in speaking more. Wisdom is knowing what deserves to remain sacred. Stay with this until the end, because today we'll uncover the 2 things a wise woman never shares with a man, why they silently determine the level of respect she receives, and how mastering this ancient wisdom can completely transform the way men perceive and value her. By the end, you'll understand how 2 simple acts of wisdom can protect your peace, strengthen your self-worth, and inspire genuine respect in every relationship, without manipulation, without games, and without ever pretending to be someone you're not. 1. The power of sacred silence. There's a kind of power that cannot be seen, yet everyone feels it the moment it enters a room. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek approval. It doesn't compete for attention. It simply exists, calm, grounded, unshaken. That power is silence. Many people misunderstand silence. They believe it means weakness. They fear that if they don't constantly share their thoughts, feelings, and experiences, they'll somehow become invisible. But wisdom teaches something entirely different. Silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of awareness. A wise woman understands that her words carry energy. Every time she speaks, she gives away a part of that energy. This is why she doesn't speak carelessly. She chooses her words with intention, because what she reveals becomes something others can interpret, judge, misuse, or take for granted.
Not every thought deserves to be spoken.
Not every emotion deserves immediate expression. Not every question deserves an answer. The world has conditioned people to believe transparency means revealing everything, that honesty means voicing every thought that crosses the mind. But honesty and wisdom are not the same thing. Wisdom understands timing. Imagine a beautiful garden protected by an ancient gate. Would you let every stranger walk freely inside simply because they asked? Of course not. You'd first observe their intentions, decide whether they deserve access. Your inner world deserves the same protection. A wise woman doesn't allow everyone into her emotional and spiritual garden simply because they're curious. She understands that access is earned, not freely given. There's something extraordinary about people who are comfortable with silence. They don't rush to fill every pause. They don't grow uneasy when others know less about them. They understand that mystery isn't manipulation. Mystery is simply respecting the sacredness of one's own existence. You don't owe anyone immediate access to your deepest thoughts. You don't owe explanations for every decision. You don't owe constant updates about your life, your plans, or your dreams. When a woman learns this truth, she moves differently through life. She becomes more observant. She listens more than she speaks. She notices how people reveal their character when given the chance to talk freely. What motivates them, what they value, whether their words align with their actions. Silence becomes her teacher. Water reflects most clearly when it is still. The same is true of the human mind. Constant speaking, constant explaining, constant seeking of validation. All of it creates noise within.
Some women lose their power because they speak too soon.
They reveal ambitions before the journey has begun. They reveal insecurities before trust has been established. They reveal intentions before understanding another person's character.
Then they wonder why they feel emotionally exhausted.
Silence protects energy. Silence protects peace. Silence protects dignity. A wise woman understands that people often reveal themselves when they aren't given immediate access to her thoughts. She doesn't feel pressured to prove who she is. She knows her actions will speak louder than any explanation. There's tremendous confidence in saying less. Confidence doesn't need to announce itself. Confidence doesn't chase. Understanding confidence remains calm, even when misunderstood.
Sometimes silence is the most respectful answer a person can give.
Sometimes it's the greatest form of self-respect. Many relationships suffer because people speak when they should observe, reveal when they should reflect, explain when they should simply remain present. Sacred silence isn't about becoming cold or emotionally unavailable. It's about recognizing that your words are valuable. And when something is valuable, it should never be treated carelessly. Diamonds are protected because they're precious. Your peace deserves the same protection.
The most powerful people in the world aren't necessarily the loudest.
Often they're the ones who understand that silence creates presence. Their calmness commands attention without demanding it. A wise woman walks into a room without needing to convince anyone of her value.
She knows genuine worth doesn't require constant advertisement.
She lets others discover who she is through time, consistency, and character. The less she feels the need to explain herself, the more freedom she experiences. And yet, there's one thing even more precious than silence. A part of herself that should never be placed in the hands of someone who hasn't earned her trust, that begins with her deepest emotional world. 2. Never reveal your deepest emotional weakness too early. There's something beautiful about vulnerability, but vulnerability without wisdom becomes exposure. Many people are taught that opening their hearts immediately is a sign of emotional maturity, that revealing every wound, every fear, every painful experience will automatically create deeper connection. Yet wisdom teaches patience. Trust isn't built in a day. Respect isn't established through emotional oversharing. Relationships aren't strengthened by revealing everything at once. A wise woman understands that her emotional world is sacred. She doesn't hand the keys to her heart to someone simply because they showed interest, because interest is not commitment. Attention is not loyalty. Kind words are not proof of character. There's an important difference between being open and being unprotected. Many women unknowingly give away their power when they reveal their deepest insecurities too early. Speaking about their greatest fears before trust has been established, confessing every past disappointment before understanding the intentions of the person across from them. Then, when circumstances change, they discover that what was once spoken in vulnerability can sometimes be used without compassion. Wisdom doesn't fear vulnerability. Wisdom simply understands timing. Think of the strongest foundations ever built. They're never rushed. Every stone is carefully placed before the structure rises. Your emotional foundation deserves the same patience. A wise woman allows trust to grow naturally. She watches how a man behaves when circumstances become difficult. She observes whether his words remain consistent over time, because people reveal their true character not through what they say, but through what they repeatedly do. There's no urgency in revealing your deepest wounds. You're not obligated to share every painful chapter of your life simply because someone asks. You're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to let people earn access to the most sacred parts of your story. Emotional discipline is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. The world celebrates emotional expression, but rarely teaches emotional wisdom. It tells you to speak your truth immediately, to wear your heart on your sleeve. But wisdom asks a different question. Who has earned the privilege of hearing your truth? That question changes everything. Some people enter your life only temporarily. Some are curious, but not committed. Some are attracted to your kindness, but unwilling to protect your vulnerability. A wise woman understands this without becoming cynical or fearful. She remains kind, compassionate, authentic, but she also remains discerning. There's great strength in letting relationships unfold slowly. When you reveal yourself gradually, you create space for observation. You learn who someone truly is before allowing them to influence your emotional world. Your wounds are not conversation starters. Your pain is not something you owe anyone. Your healing journey deserves protection. Many people confuse emotional availability with emotional accessibility. These are not the same. Emotional availability means being capable of genuine connection. Emotional accessibility means everyone gets immediate access. Wisdom understands the difference. The strongest hearts aren't the ones that open immediately. They're the ones that know when to open and when to remain protected. Protecting your emotional world isn't selfish, it's necessary. The people who truly deserve to know your deepest fears will never demand immediate access. They'll patiently earn your trust through consistency, respect, and genuine care. Trust is never built through promises alone, it's built through time, and time reveals everything. There's another truth many overlook. When you constantly seek emotional security from another person, you slowly begin to place your identity in their hands. Which brings us to perhaps the most important lesson of all. Never become so focused on being chosen that you forget the purpose for which you were created. 3. Never make a man the center of your purpose. One of the greatest mistakes a woman can make is forgetting who she is while trying to become what someone else desires. There's nothing wrong with love, commitment, or building a meaningful relationship. But wisdom reminds us that relationships are meant to enrich your life, not become your entire life. A wise woman understands that before anyone entered her story, she already possessed value. She had dreams, she had purpose, she had gifts waiting to be developed, she had a life worth living. The moment she places another human being at the center of her existence, she begins surrendering pieces of herself she was never meant to abandon. Many people spend years chasing love while neglecting their own growth. They sacrifice their peace to maintain someone's approval. They change their values to avoid rejection. They make another person's happiness their greatest responsibility. Eventually, they wake up asking a painful question: who have I become? The answer often reveals that somewhere along the way, they stopped choosing themselves. A wise woman loves deeply, but she never loses herself in the process. She understands that purpose must always remain greater than attachment. No human being should become your identity. No relationship should determine your worth. No person's opinion should define your future. When your entire emotional world depends on another person's presence, fear begins to control your decisions. You become afraid of disagreement, afraid of disappointing them, afraid of being alone. Fear is a terrible foundation for any relationship. True love cannot flourish where self-abandonment exists. A wise woman continues investing in her mind, her health, her values, and her personal growth regardless of her relationship status. She understands that becoming her highest self benefits not only her, but everyone around her. Relationships are strongest when two whole individuals walk beside one another. Not when one person becomes emotionally dependent on the other for meaning and purpose. Your purpose existed before someone chose you. It remains after someone leaves. And it continues to grow every day you choose to honor it. Never let love become an excuse for shrinking your potential. Continue learning, continue growing, continue becoming the woman you were meant to become. People are naturally drawn to those who possess purpose. There's something deeply attractive about someone who lives with conviction and inner direction. When a woman knows who she is, she becomes difficult to manipulate because she no longer seeks validation outside herself. She respects herself enough to walk away from what dishonors her values. She values her peace more than temporary attention. She understands that being alone is infinitely better than abandoning herself for acceptance. The wisest women throughout history have understood a simple truth. Relationships are important, but they are never more important than one's character, purpose, and inner peace. Don't build your life around someone else's approval. Build a life so meaningful that anyone who enters it becomes a beautiful addition, not its foundation. You were never meant to become smaller so someone else could feel larger. You were meant to stand firmly in your own purpose, walk confidently in your own truth, and protect the sacred value that already exists within you. Because the woman who guards her silence, protects her emotional world, and remains devoted to her purpose possesses something that can never be taken away: her inner power. 4. The difference between privacy and secrecy. There's a profound misunderstanding in today's world. Many believe that if you choose not to reveal everything about yourself, you must be hiding something, that privacy is dishonesty, that silence is deception. But wisdom teaches something far more subtle. privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is self-respect. Secrecy is driven by fear. Privacy is guided by wisdom. A wise woman understands this difference deeply. She knows she doesn't need to explain every decision, share every struggle, or invite everyone into the most sacred corners of her life. Protecting her inner world isn't selfish, it's necessary. Not everything valuable should be visible. Think of the most precious treasures in human history. They were never left unguarded. They were protected because their value was understood. Your peace deserves protection. Your dreams deserve protection. Your healing deserves protection. Many people reveal too much simply because they're uncomfortable disappointing others. They fear being misunderstood if they say, "I prefer to keep that private." Yet there's tremendous freedom in realizing that privacy requires no apology. You don't need permission to protect your emotional space. The wisest people understand that trust grows slowly through consistency, character, and time. And access should grow the same way. Imagine planting a seed in fertile soil. Would you dig it up every day to show everyone how much it has grown? Of course not. You'd let it develop quietly beneath the surface until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Many dreams die because they're shared too early. Many relationships suffer because expectations are spoken before understanding is established. Many people lose confidence because they seek validation from those who never earned the right to influence their journey. A wise woman protects what is still growing. She understands that some chapters of her life are meant to be lived before they're spoken about. Some victories are more meaningful when they arrive quietly. Some transformations become more powerful when they happen in silence. There's ancient wisdom in becoming comfortable with being misunderstood for a season. Not everyone needs to know where you're going. Not everyone needs to understand why you've changed. Not everyone deserves a seat in the front row of your life. When you stop over-explaining yourself, something remarkable happens. You begin to reclaim your energy. Instead of spending hours justifying your choices, you invest that energy into living them. Instead of convincing others to understand your path, you simply continue walking it. The need to explain ourselves often comes from a desire to be accepted. But wisdom teaches that acceptance from others is temporary. Self-respect is lasting. Privacy allows you to develop emotional independence. It teaches you that your worth isn't determined by how much of yourself others approve of. People who genuinely care for you will respect your boundaries. They won't pressure you to reveal what you're not ready to share, because they understand trust cannot be rushed. A wise woman knows that protecting her privacy isn't building walls, it's building healthy doors. Walls keep everyone out. Doors simply require permission to enter. Your heart should have doors, not revolving ones. There's peace that comes when you no longer feel obligated to narrate your entire life. You become present, grounded, free from the exhausting need for external validation.
Some of life's greatest transformations happen quietly. The butterfly does not announce its wings before they're ready.
Neither should you. And once you understand the sacred value of privacy, something extraordinary begins to emerge naturally from your presence. People become curious. Not because you're pretending to be mysterious, but because wisdom carries a quiet kind of magnetism. That's where true mystery begins. 5. Why mystery creates respect. There's something timeless about mystery. It cannot be manufactured or forced. True mystery is simply the natural result of a person who values themselves enough not to reveal everything all at once. In a world that constantly encourages people to broadcast every thought, achievement, and emotion, there's something deeply refreshing about someone who remains centered and reserved. A wise woman understands that mystery isn't about making others chase her. It's about remaining connected to herself. She knows there's no need to perform her entire personality within the first conversation. There's no urgency to reveal every detail of her life just to make others comfortable. Human beings naturally appreciate what unfolds over time. Consider your favorite book. If someone revealed every chapter before you began reading, much of the beauty would disappear. Discovery creates appreciation. Relationships are no different. When someone earns the privilege of knowing you gradually, they value that journey far more than if everything had been handed to them immediately. Respect grows through discovery.
Many people unintentionally diminish their own value because they believe they must immediately impress others.
They speak excessively about their accomplishments, struggles, or future plans in an attempt to create connection. But genuine connection cannot be rushed. It unfolds naturally.
A wise woman understands that she is not an advertisement.
She is a human being whose depth deserves time to be understood. Mystery creates respect because it communicates something important without ever speaking a word. It says, "I value myself enough to move slowly." When people realize they cannot immediately understand everything about you, they begin paying closer attention to your actions rather than simply your words. Your consistency becomes more meaningful. Your character becomes more visible. Your values become more apparent. Respect begins where curiosity meets patience. Mystery also protects you from people who are only interested in surface-level connection.
Those who seek instant emotional access often grow impatient when boundaries appear.
They may mistake wisdom for distance or privacy for indifference. Let them misunderstand. The right people are never threatened by healthy boundaries. The right people appreciate depth.
They understand that meaningful relationships aren't built through urgency, but through trust.
Many individuals unknowingly give away their emotional power because they desperately want to be liked. They reveal every insecurity, dream, and fear within moments of meeting someone new, often from an unconscious fear of not being accepted. But acceptance that requires abandoning your wisdom is not acceptance at all. You do not need to become smaller, louder, or more available to deserve love and respect. True confidence is remarkably quiet. A wise woman doesn't seek attention. She attracts respect by remaining authentic, grounded, and intentional. There's elegance in being fully present without needing to become the center of every conversation. There's beauty in allowing others to wonder what inspires you, what motivates you, what dreams quietly guide your life. Mystery isn't about hiding yourself. It's about allowing life to reveal you naturally. When you stop rushing to be understood, you become far more interesting than any carefully constructed image could ever be. People remember calmness. They remember dignity. They remember individuals who made them feel peace rather than pressure. And perhaps the greatest mystery of all is this: the less you seek attention, the more meaningful your presence becomes. Yet none of this wisdom is possible without mastering one final discipline. A discipline that has transformed lives throughout history. The discipline of speaking less and observing more. 6. The wisdom of speaking less and observing more. One of the greatest abilities you can cultivate in life is the ability to observe. Most people listen only long enough to prepare their next response. They speak to be heard rather than listening to understand. They reveal themselves before they've truly seen the person standing before them. Wisdom chooses a different path. A wise woman understands that observation is one of life's greatest teachers. People reveal themselves constantly through their habits, their treatment of others, their consistency, their emotional discipline, and the choices they make when no one is watching. You don't need to interrogate someone to understand their character. You simply need to become patient enough to observe it. Time reveals what words often conceal. Many painful experiences could be avoided if people spent less time speaking and more time paying attention. Observe how someone responds to disappointment. Observe how they speak about those who cannot benefit them. Observe whether they respect boundaries or seek to challenge them. Observe whether their actions consistently align with their promises. Character is not discovered through conversation alone. It is discovered through observation. There's tremendous wisdom in slowing down. Modern life rewards speed, instant messages, instant relationships, instant emotional investment. Yet wisdom has always moved slowly. A wise woman never allows loneliness, excitement, or attraction to replace discernment. She understands that emotions are beautiful servants, but dangerous masters. She listens carefully, not only to what people say, but to what they repeatedly do. There are moments when silence will teach you more about someone than an entire evening of conversation. Observe who becomes uncomfortable when you stop over-explaining yourself. Observe who respects your boundaries without taking them personally. Observe who remains consistent when circumstances become difficult. Life is constantly speaking. The question is whether you've become quiet enough to hear it. Many people lose their peace because they ignore what they observe. Their intuition quietly warns them. Their experiences offer valuable lessons, yet they become distracted by words, charm, or potential. Wisdom pays attention. A wise woman trusts time. She understands that time has an extraordinary ability to reveal truth. Masks become difficult to maintain, intentions become visible, patterns become impossible to hide. This is why patience is such an important companion to wisdom. When you speak less, you create space to observe more clearly. When you observe more clearly, you make wiser decisions. When you make wiser decisions, you protect your peace. Speaking less does not mean becoming silent out of fear. It means becoming intentional in your communication. It means understanding that your words carry weight and should therefore be used wisely.
There's something deeply powerful about becoming comfortable with pauses in conversation. No longer feeling compelled to impress, entertain, or explain.
You simply remain present. Presence itself becomes your strength. The wisest people are often the calmest people in the room. They don't rush toward conclusions. They don't become emotionally reactive. They watch, they listen, and they learn. Life rewards those willing to observe before they act. The woman who masters this discipline becomes difficult to deceive because she sees beyond appearances. She recognizes that respect is earned slowly and that trust deserves patience. She understands that silence can reveal more than speech. She protects her privacy without becoming distant. She embraces mystery without becoming manipulative. She values her purpose without abandoning her compassion. And so she moves through life with quiet confidence, never needing to announce her worth. Because she has already learned the greatest truth of all, the deepest power a woman possesses is not found in what she reveals to the world. It is found in the wisdom she preserves within herself. You have now seen that true wisdom is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. The two things a wise woman never gives away carelessly are her deepest emotional vulnerability and her life's purpose. She protects them not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Along the way, we discovered that sacred silence protects your peace, privacy protects your growth, mystery naturally creates respect, and observation reveals truths that words often conceal. A wise woman does not chase respect. She embodies it. She does not seek validation. She cultivates inner strength. She does not reveal everything simply to be accepted. She understands that what is sacred deserves protection. When you stop giving away your emotional world too soon and refuse to make another person the center of your purpose, something extraordinary happens. You become calm where others are reactive. You become grounded where others are dependent. You become valuable, not because others say you are, but because you have learned to honor your own worth.